Beyond all reason is a bell curve. Let me show you what I mean. A bell curve is a type of graph that is used commonly to showcase the extremities on both sides of a subject. One side will be the extreme of a certain subject, while the center is the average, and the further side being another extremity in the opposite direction. Now, you may ask yourself, what does that have to do with Beyond All Reason? And the answer is quite simple. If you've spent any time playing the game, I'm sure you've seen some comments like this. So the question is then at this point, why is this such a prevailing topic? And is it really true that we have this type of problem in the community? Now, what I have come to realize is that there appears to be an element of a bell curve going on here. What I would like to present to you today is that this bell curve that we're going to make is the bell curve of toxicity in the community. The toxic nature will be represented by low points in the bell curve, and the pleasant and good portion of the community will be represented in the high points of the bell curve. Now we have the height determined for what it equals, which would be better behavior. We also have the low points determined as they are worse behavior. The next part of the bell curve is the bottom portion, which is showing a length of a flat line. It is a plane that the rest of the graph sits upon. Now, this plane is where it gets interesting because I believe this plane represents OS. OS is the ranking which Beyond All Reason uses to determine the skill of a player. And if the OS is lower, then that means they're a little bit worse. If the OS is higher, then that means that they are even better. Now, keep in mind, this chart is strictly an averaging and is not the rule of thumb. But how many of you have hopped into a very high OS game? And if you mess up just a little bit, you're going to get flamed. This means that the happiness scale for high OS players generally is quite low in comparison to the average of Beyond All Reason players. Whereas if you hop into a very low OS game, especially with those who have a significant amount of experience in Beyond All Reason, then you're going to find a relatively similar experience. Once again, this is not a rule, it is an average. So, what's the big deal anyway? Like, what's the point in making the video? Well, spreading awareness about this is really important because a lot of people can tend to read some of these comments that are left on places like Reddit or, whatever other forums there might be with Beyond All Reason on it. And it really just comes down to the fact that a lot of the extremities of the game have a bit of toxicity built into them, and that's often why they are in the OS that they are. Let's take 40OS for instance. 40OS is extremely difficult to get to. It takes a lot of hard work and determination and exceptional skill. As you do more effort and put in more work and have such a great amount of skill, people below you appear, to put it frankly, stupid. You are on such a higher level of existence in the game that everything else around you just seems dumb. Like, why would you waste your time with this type of behavior? This leads to a grumpy mindset. Now, as for the other side, which is zero OS, there is another problem. Oftentimes, I believe there are basically two types of zero OS players: those who try really, really hard but can't seem to make the level of impact required to gain OS, or those who are just plain really, really bad at the game and maybe just enjoy playing for other reasons. Both are fine reasons and okay to be. It's just one has a little bit more of a tendency to be frustrated and upset with where they are because they're striving for progression, they're striving to be better, and they're striving to win games, but they don't quite have the appropriate grasp of how to do that more effectively and impact the game appropriately. So they're at 0 OS. And that leads to a little bit more grumpiness on their side as well. So, in conclusion, don't worry so much about your OS and try to be one of the exceptions to the rule if you are in one of the either higher or lower brackets. Please leave a comment and let me know what you guys think of this video and if I am getting anything wrong here. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe, it helps a ton, and also be sure to like the video. Anyway, guys, I will see you on the battlefield.